What up, what up? Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. Now, I know some of you all are wondering why I have this on my head, but that's because today is the last of our three-part series on linear functions, and I'm just turning up right now, y'all. But either way it goes, you better get ready because it's about to go down. What up, what up? I am your teacher and facilitator, D Math Professor. And guys, thank you for tuning in. We are now on the third part of our three-part series on linear functions. Now, for those of you all that hadn't had the opportunity to look at some of the previous videos, I suggest you push pause and do that now. We've already gone through the first lesson, which was on input and output values. Second lesson was on identifying patterns and being able to determine whether we're looking at a function. And today we're going to be learning about the function rule. Now, I know it's been a long time coming, but we are here, people. I'm super excited because I know it's been a long time coming, but hey, we are here. So let's do what you came here to do. Let's knock this thing on out. Let's go. As promised, we're going to focus on creating a function rule. Let's first determine the pattern that's here. Notice from 0 to 1, it seems like I went up 1. From 1 to 2, I went up by 1. And then from 2 to 3, I went up by 1. So we've established our pattern for our input. Let's look at our output, elevation. So from 1127 to 1219, it looks like I increased about 92. Yeah, that makes sense. And then from 1219 to 1311, it still seems like we're going up 92. We're beginning to catch our pattern, hence the reason why it's important for you to have watched that second video, guys. And from 1311 to 1403, we increased 92. All right, so I have my pattern. My input values are going up by 1, and my output values are going up by 92. Now, in order for me to write the function rule, I have to start off with this equation, f of x, which simply means function of x. So f of x, and then we have a box here, and we're going to place the letter x. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the plus sign and create another box. So this is the formula that we want to start off with, guys. F of x equals some value with an x plus another value. The value that's normally tied to x is known as m, and the value that's on this end is known as b. M is our slope, and b is our y-intercept. Let me go ahead and write that down here so that you all know. M is typically going to be known as the slope. And for those of us that may not know, slope is basically how steep a line is. Think about a hill. If a hill is real steep, then it has a great value or great deal of slope. Whereas if you're walking on a flat surface or a leveled ground, there isn't much slope there. All right, and B is known as the y-intercept. Okay, so at this point we got everything we need. Now we just have to go back and find the values that go in the box. Everything else is already there. We're going to keep it the same. So the first value that I need to go find is the slope value. So here's how we do that. So I'm going to look at my pattern, right? The pattern that we just created. And I'm going to look at the pattern that occurred on the output. So in this case, it's going to be 92. And then I'm going to look at the value that occurred in my input. In this case, it's 1. We just need to divide those two values. 92 divided by 1. No rocket science here, y'all. 92 divided by 1 is simply 92. So that's our m value. That's our slope. Okay, again, I took the pattern that occurred in my output and I divided that by the pattern that occurred for my input. And now I got my slope, which in this case is 92. So now when I rewrite this formula, instead of m, I'm going to write the value, you got it, I'm going to write the value 92. Always place that X that was already there. Got it. We're going to put our plus sign. And now we got to find our y-intercept. Now the y-intercept is real simple to identify within a function table. It is basically what we got to do is find on the function table where x equals 0. So let's go back to that function table and we're going to identify where x equals 0. And we notice that that's the first value that we started off with. Whichever value is next to that 0 is our y-intercept. So in this case, it's going to be 1127. So we'll put our plus sign. And then in this case, our y-intercept is going to be 1127. And boom, that is the function rule for the very first function table. And again, that kind of makes sense because think about it. If you plug in a 0, 92 times 0 is 0. And then all we're left with is 1127, which is what we see going on in that first row of the function table. So it's all good. We got it. So let's move on to the next table. From 0 to 1, seems like we're going up by 1. From 1 to 2, we're going up by 1. Very simple formula. We kind of pattern rather. We kind of already know what's going on. And from 2 to 3, we're going up by 1. So far, so good. Easy peasy. Let's look at our output. From $52.07 to $53.36. I look like it increased at about $1.20. What is that? Do that math. Yeah, 129. There we go. Cool. And then from $53.36 to $54.65, looks like we increased by the same value. Boy, this thing's getting on my nerves, man. Work with me on this, y'all. Now it looks like it's a 1:29 in the afternoon, but y'all know what's going on. And then from $54.65 to $55.94, we increased by the same value. So we got our pattern. Our input is increasing by 1 and our output is increasing by $1.29. All right, we're going to start off by creating the function table f of x, or function of x, equals. Now we got to find our slope. And remember, our slope is simply the output value. In this case, it's 129. And we're going to divide that by our input value. In this case, it's 1. So 1.29 divided by 1 is clearly just going to be 1.29 or $1.29. Okay, and as part of the formula before, write the x. Always write the x after you've identified your slope. Now we got to go back and find our y-intercept. And the rule was wherever x equals 0. So let's go back to the function table and let's find where x equals 0, which I'm circling now. And then whatever number's next to that guy is the y-intercept. So in this case, it's going to be $52.07 is our y-intercept. Okay, so hopefully I think you're getting a good hang of it. We got our function rule for the second function table. All right, so now we're going to go to where it says gas and tank. And we're going to create a function rule for this function table. All right, y'all already know what to do. Let's first identify our pattern. That's going up by 17. Okay, so something changed up. It's a little different now, but the rule still applies. From 17 to 34, we went up by 17. And then from 34 to 51, looks like we're still going up by 17. All right, so now let's look at our output. From 11 2/10 to 10 2/10, we went down by 1. From 10.2 to 9.2, we went down by 1. And then from 9.2 to 8.2, we went down by 1. So most people would probably get a little discouraged at this point because it feels a little different. But the rule still applies, y'all. Just follow the rule. It's very simple. We're going to create our function of x. And then we're going to take our output value, the pattern that's occurring in our output value. In this case, it's -1, and we're going to divide it by 17. So we're going to put negative, and then we're going to put 1. This is going to be real cool. And then we're going to divide that by 17. So in cases like this, if it creates a fraction, just leave it as a fraction. So we got 1 over 17, and what should we always remember to do? Put that x. Great job, guys. And now we just need to go find where x equals 0. So let's identify that on the function table. And whatever number's next to that is our y-intercept. In this case, it's 11.2. All right, guys, we sat there and we talked about how to create a function rule. We just created 3 function rules. So at this point, you know input and output, you know how to find the patterns, and now you know how to create a function rule. That's all I got. It's been real. Hopefully you enjoyed the lesson. You take it easy. God bless. Deuces.